few drinks later, and I was in the back of a police car wailing, so...
A few drinks later, do you know how many?
No, I don't. But I know it was tequila.
How long had you been drinking again?
A couple months. Years go by, you're fine. And then all of a sudden, in a heartbeat, in an instant, on an impulse, somebody shoves a glass of mezcal in front of your nose and says, "It's from Oaxaca." And you go, "What?" And it's burning its way through your esophagus, and you go, "Oh man, what did I do that for? Can't put the toothpaste back in the tube."
Were you drinking from the open bottle of tequila in the car?
Yeah. I had a couple of slugs, yeah.
So how drunk were you?
It's not a question of how drunk you are, or you're impaired. Your judgment is impaired enough to do insane things like try and drive at high speeds. Even a couple of drinks, you lose all humility. Everything is just, you become a braggart and a blowhard. And
yeah, one of the things you said was about owning Malibu.
Yeah, oh yeah. Right. Yes, I own this place, as I sat in the back of a police car with my hands cupped on.
And then, as the officer arrested him, a tirade against Jews.
Take me back to that moment as you remember it then. Officer James Mee.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know him? Did you know he was Jewish?
No, I don't think so. Yeah. I don't think so. I found out later. But that's, all...
Why would you have asked him that?
I don't know. You see, it's all... I didn't know if he was or wasn't. I mean, I said horrible things to him. And he was pretty patient.
These are the words.
Mm-hmm.
How horrible does he think they were? I read to him the officer's account of the words he used that night. Expletive Jews. And to Officer Mee, "Are you a Jew?" And
the Jews are responsible for all the wars in the world.
Mm-hmm.
The Jews are responsible.
Well, strictly speaking, that's not true, because it takes two to tango.
What are the Jews responsible for?
What are they responsible for? I think that they're not blameless in that conflict. There's been aggression and retaliation and aggression. It's just part of being in conflict and being at war. So they're not blameless. Of course they're not.
Wait a minute. He's still blaming the Jews.
No, but I didn't say that.
He's still blaming Israel.
No. Did I say that?
The fact that his father, Hutton Gibson, has famously publicly expressed doubts that 6 million Jews were really murdered in the Holocaust. Mel Gibson began by telling us he does believe 6 million Jews were murdered.
It was an atrocity of monumental proportion.
But when we ask him to repudiate the assertions of his dad...
He's my father. Gotta leave it alone, Diane.
But I want to go back, because your father has been on the record. This is not an assumption. He has been on the record saying things like the Holocaust, quote, mostly fiction, that it's been hyped out of proportion.
Yeah. Well, we're talking about me here right now, and me taking responsibility for my words and actions.
Zionism is really the biggest enemy of Judaism.
If you can tell me what Zionism is and what Judaism is, what the difference is between the two.
Judaism is a religion. That means God gave the Torah and the Mount Sinai for 3,500 years ago. What united them? Not a country, not a language. Our nation is a nation only by the Torah. If you believe in the 13 principles of Judaism, you are a Jew. If not, you are not a Jew. You can be a Jew, a Japanese, a Chinese, a black, a white, no different. Zionism from the other side is a completely secular movement. It was born by a person called Steder Herzl from Vienna, Austria. They don't keep nothing, they don't believe in God, they don't believe in the Torah. He didn't make even a circumcision for his son. They keep the name Judaism, emptying out the holiness, the belief, the religion, filling that in with nationalistic ideas. You don't have to be a believer, you don't have to keep the Torah. Zionism is really the biggest enemy of Judaism.
Are you anti-Semitic?
No, of course not. And here's the other thing. For me, it goes against the tenets of my faith. To be racist in any form, to be anti-Semitic, is a sin. It's been condemned by one papal council after another. There's encyclicals on it, which is, to be anti-Semitic is to be un-Christian. And I'm not.
When I was in the Mossad, and we had a guy that gave us problems in the U.S., and he was speaking out, and he was talking like Like Pete talked once and said, Israel is bombing Lebanon with cluster bombs. We say, hey, who's that guy? You know, Pete Makaki, we used to call him. Yeah, which is Pete the cockroach. Because he makes a lot of noise and you can't get rid of him. So what you do is you get in touch with a guy in the station in New York or in the station in Washington. You say, tell the guys at B'nai B'rith to label him. And of course the campaign starts, and before you know it, the guy's labeled. And he's an anti-Semite. Because that's what we say he is. And that's one stain you cannot wash. Now, it shames me as a Jew to tell you that. But that's the fact. And it's wrong.
Often when there is dissent expressed in the United States against policies of the Israeli government, people here are called anti-Semitic. What is your response to that as an Israeli Jew?
Well, it's a trick. We always use it. When from Europe somebody is criticizing Israel, then we bring up the Holocaust. When in this country people are criticizing Israel, then they are anti-Semitic. And the organization is strong and has a lot of money, and the ties between Israel and the American Jewish establishment are very strong, and they are strong in this country. As you know, they have power, which it's okay. They are talented people, and they have power, money, and media, and other things. And their attitude is, Israel, my country, right or wrong, the identification. And they are not ready to hear criticism. And it's very easy to blame people who criticize certain acts of the Israeli government as anti-Semitics, and to bring up the Holocaust and the suffering of the Jewish people, and that justify everything we do to the Palestinians.
This is a rule, you know, the rules of perception. If they're black, then it's a gang. If they're Italian, it's a mob. But if they're Jewish, it's a coincidence, and you should never speak about it. Why? I know the Jewish people have been through terrible things all over the world, but you can't blame that on black Americans. You just can't. You know what I mean? Thanks to the one person that said that. A fair punishment would be he should just post a link to Schindler's List and y'all write your own captions. Well, I've been to Hollywood. I don't want y'all to get mad at me. I'm just telling you, I've been to Hollywood. This was just what I saw. It's a lot of Jews. Like a lot. But that didn't mean anything. You know what I mean? There's a lot of black people in Ferguson, Missouri. Doesn't mean we run the place. I could see if you had some kind of issue. You know what I mean? You might go out to Hollywood and you might start connecting some kind of lines, and you could maybe adopt the delusion that the Jews run show business. It's not a crazy thing to think, but it's a crazy thing to say out loud in a climate like this. It shouldn't be this scary to talk about anything. It's making my job incredibly difficult. And to be honest with you, I'm getting sick of talking to a crowd like this. I love you to death, and I thank you for your support, and I hope they don't take anything away from me. Whoever they are.
I was in my mid-20s.
Right.
The first time I really came over here. You know, I had a whole bunch of weird paranoid suspicions about what the hell was going on, because there was a lot of stuff I couldn't understand.
Right.
And nobody was really bothering to explain it to me.
They don't.
And I formed a bunch of opinions about the town and about the people in it that were like, surely that couldn't be, because a whole place can't be like, you know, Weird Town, you know, where the stranger wanders in and all the people are in the bar and they all shut up when he looks at them, and they tell you don't go into the house on the hill, and it's like that. And then you go away and you think, no, I was wrong. I mean, that's insane thinking. I'm paranoid. I imagined that stuff. That couldn't be the reason for why so-and-so was acting like, could it? And then you find out later on the track that you were exactly on track.
Christopher Walken, first time I ever did a casting session in America.
Yeah.
Terrified me.
Me too.
I mean, fucking hell. I came to meet the guy. They said, oh, he's flying in from God knows where.
Yeah, but he didn't need a plane, right? Yeah, it's like...
He didn't need a plane. He came in, he was doing all the kind of Scorsese stuff. And I said, have you had a chance to read the script? And he looked at me and he said, do you like my face? And I went, yes. And he said, well, that's fucking great, because if you don't, get De Niro. Fuck you, I'm out of here. And stood up and walked out. And everyone said, well, that I think was quite a good meeting.
No, he came to see me on a rooftop in New York. I said, hey, can I talk to you? And he said, sure. And he floated in, sideways, through a crowd of people. He was wearing black. And it was like one of those old vampire movies where they don't walk, but they glide. And he was a dancer, you know, so he has he's very, you know, graceful.
Yeah.
And he moved sideways, and he just sat down in a chair next to me. And it kind of frightened me. And he's a very smart guy. And we started talking, and I didn't, you know, say much of anything about reading the script, nothing. I just started talking about the Middle Ages, and he began to talk tortures. And we swapped tortures, because I'd read this book on torture. And I tried to recall some of the most heinous things I'd ever read in this book. And he was like, oh, and he'd try and top it. And my assistant was there, and he left because he couldn't stand it anymore.
Yeah.
The air had turned cold. And then he left, and I wanted to leave. And because I knew that I didn't want to work with him.
Yeah.
And he was getting scary.
Yeah.
And then I turned around, and it was on top of the Peninsula Hotel. I turned around to avoid his steady gaze at one point.
Yeah.
And I was looking at a building with the top of the sixes on it. So there was a huge illuminated triple six in red.
Yeah.
And I went from that to that to that, and he started smiling.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh no, Chris Walken is the Antichrist, you know?
Yeah. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Natalie Wood's death was shady as fuck, and I would bet that Christopher Walken probably knows what happened that night. Robert Wagner, who was her husband at the time, definitely knows what happened, but I doubt he'll be saying anything. The night it happened, there were 4 people on this boat. It was Natalie Wood, Robert Wagner, Christopher Walken, and the captain, whose name was Dennis Davern. The timeline is very sketchy. The autopsy revealed that she probably died around midnight, according to analysis of stomach contents. Robert Wagner said he placed a radio call around 1:30 a.m. to report her missing. But the guy who ended up pulling her body from the water, who was an LA County rescue boat captain, said he didn't receive a call to look for her until after 5 a.m. that morning. In 2011, 30 years after her death, the investigation was reopened. The new coroner's report cited fresh bruises on the actress's arms and knee, along with a scratch on her neck and a scrape on her forehead as evidence that she might have been assaulted before she drowned. So Wood and Wagner had gotten into an argument that night. This was corroborated by witnesses on nearby boats who heard the yelling. And at some point, she took the dinghy and went off to party hop, according to Wagner. Which is strange for a bunch of reasons. She couldn't swim. She was famously afraid of dark water. She was wearing a nightgown and slippers. And the captain later said that she didn't even know how to operate the dinghy. By the way, the reason she had the severe phobia of dark water is because her mom received a prophecy from a fortune teller that she would have a famous daughter who would drown. Obviously, there's a ton more to this story. We do talk about it on the podcast. But just to get back to Christopher Walken for a moment, I don't think he actually saw what happened. I think he was probably sleeping, passed out, whatever. They were all very drunk. But I do think he knows more than he's let on. And Natalie's little sister, Lana, has said that while she doesn't believe it was premeditated, she does believe that Robert Wagner killed her sister.
Do you understand it?
The social contract?
Yeah.
I think I do.
Yeah. What is it for you?
The social contract. You can't get mad. You can't get mad. You can't let it get you. Because you have to make a deal with everyone else, and it's almost unspoken, that you are going to be fucked over at some point by people who you may have done something nice for. And it may happen that by circumstance, or even very purposefully, that you fuck someone over. But that shouldn't get in the way of you being able to sit down and have fun with them. Am I on the right track? You can't build a resentment about it. You have to still try and love those people.
Yeah.
Because that's the way they're thinking.
Because it ain't personal.
No, it's not personal. They don't really mean to hurt you.
No.
Not really. I don't quite understand. Well, I mean, there's a lot of motivations for why it happens. Yes, many.
I mean, money will make you do stuff as well, won't it? I mean,
Yes.
them, us,
Yes.
you know.
Yeah, well, whoever.
If there's many millions riding on a decision, it's hard to be philosophical.
Yes. Yeah, very, very hard. Very hard to be, you know, you have to choose what level of integrity you're coming in at. And
Okay.
And I've often felt it. I've sat there and I have felt the knife slipped firmly in between my shoulder blades and tried to have it shoved through the other side through my heart. I mean, this is a bizarre place. And it doesn't take very long and I'm sure you've experienced this if you've stayed here for any length of time. You come in, you're fresh from the outside, you're off the boat, from the farm, still got shit on your shoes, you're in here, people are charmed by that, that you've still got shit on your shoes. They're charmed by the fresh approach you bring to it, and that's a real thing. But they're also stroking the shit out of you, you know, licking you all over. And that's kind of good for you, too. It's
great.
But it doesn't take very long before you realize, or before it gets to you. It's cascading on you all the time. You can't get away from certain attitudes, from certain modes of behavior that this town and the industry dictate. And no matter how strong you are, when you come in off the farm with those convictions and a certain line of attack, no matter how strong you are going to be affected by this place. His whole opinion about women on film, from beginning to end, is very brief. He says, women on film, either naked or dead. Both is better. And it's like, whoa, ooh. The man has got a spiritual malady for a start. I mean, the scary thing is that I think a lot of people think that. Maybe not to that extreme. There are people, well-meaning people, and you'll know within 15 minutes.
If this is a person you want to work with. Yeah.
I'll think, fuck, and you'll resent it for a little while, then you have to let it go. Otherwise, you'll eat yourself alive. And I think it takes that kind of cockroach resilience to survive in this town.
Right. I mean, obviously, it's pretty much based on money, the system here.
It is.
Yeah.
The system is completely based on money.
Yeah.
The studio system.
Yeah.
To a degree, I think the way I hook into the system is based on money.
Is there a collective ethos, or somebody once said my problem was I didn't understand the social contract. Yeah, I now understand what that means.
Yeah.
Do you understand it?
The social contract?
Yeah.
I think I do.
Yeah. What is it for you?
The social contract. You can't get mad. You can't get mad. You can't let it get you, because you have to make a deal with everyone else, and it's almost unspoken that you are going to be fucked over at some point by people who you may have done something nice for. And it may happen that by circumstance, or even very purposefully, that you fuck someone over. But that shouldn't get in the way of you being able to sit down and have fun with them.
Here goes another one, y'all. I'm finally on bananas so I can post again. But even Robin Williams, Lord rest his soul, talking about Mel Gibson. I was going to play this.
He was arrested and certainly took a certain amount of focus. But for me, it was a moment of...
What do you mean?
Just like there but for the grace of God, you know.
You out of control like that?
Maybe.
Oh, I miss him.
And that's you stop because you know, when you start violating your standards quicker than you can lower them, then it's time to go away.
A lot of people have said. Is the person who said those things
the same person?
Drunk? Responsible? I mean, are they the same? Are you yourself?
No, that's another side of yourself that even you don't know. And I would say that, and he said afterwards, you know, he's repentant and said all those things. I wasn't there. It's like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Jack Daniels. There is another person who appears.
But a lot of people out here have said, don't work with him. That's it. He's revealed. Don't work with him.
Don't work with him. And also a lot of people say his next movie makes money. They'll somehow work with him. You know, you can do the, we'll do The Passion on Ice. It's sad, you know, it's like, and he's a brilliant guy, you know. Does he have flaws and foibles? Yes. Does he admit?
I'd had a gut full of the whole industry. I mean, it's a very strange place, Hollywood. But it's an odd place. And you imagine all these horror stories there that you think, boy, it seems as if I'm being sacrificed over here. No, that couldn't be true. And then you realize that it is true. And you have to, I just left for a while and took a couple of years off, bought a place down in Australia and started digging holes and putting up fences and birthing cattle and all this kind of stuff. And it was fun, you know, it was fun. It was great, and it was a good breather, you know.
We're just talking the psychology of a man.
What if the entertainment industry is nothing but a cover for a worldwide sex ring?
Mel Gibson made a film, The Last Passion of Christ, another film a mainstream director made about the life of Hazrat Isa al-Islam. When he made this film, he went to all those Jewish studios in Hollywood, one by one, knocked on all their doors, and they said, Mel, get the hell out of here. We're not going to allow you to make a film that makes Jews look bad and make it look like we killed Jesus. We're not funding that film, which is obvious, right? Everyone turned him down. So what did Mel do? Mel Gibson turned around and used his own money, which is unheard of. No one uses their own money to fund a film. He used his own money to make a £200 million film that could have been the biggest flop of all time. But instead, when that film was released, it became the most successful non-English language film of all time. It became the most successful religious film of all time. Impact that film had was incredible because he had the faith to do it. He had the money, and he was a powerhouse. He had the money himself. No one would give the money. That's exactly the position we're in now. No one's giving the money. But if someone does raise the money, if that money comes together and you make that breakout hit, it's going to change everything. Because people are fickle. Our audiences are fickle. They don't believe. They don't have belief. You have to show them before they'll have...
Hollywood critics tore him apart. They accused him of anti-Semitism, fanaticism, and glorifying violence. The major media outlets launched an open war against him. The New York Times wrote that his film resurrected medieval prejudices. The Guardian described it as torture porn. Some called him a religious fanatic, others a guilt-mongering propagandist. Accusations of anti-Semitism filled the headlines. Journalists and academics debated whether Gibson had blamed the Jewish people for Christ's death. Reporters accused him of inciting hatred. Some demanded it be censored, others wanted it analyzed. But while critics argued, audiences kept filling the theaters. Years later, in various interviews, Gibson explained why he chose to show the pain unfiltered.
Christ's suffering wasn't symbolic. It was real. I didn't want a pretty version, or poetic, or theatrical. I wanted the viewer to feel the weight of sin upon one man's body.
I have a belief in something greater than me, because if it's me, we're all in trouble.
Every single one of those guys died rather than deny their belief.
He said that during filming, every attempt to soften the scenes felt fake.
When it came to cutting a moment, something inside me said, don't do it, because in that instant the pain wasn't just Christ, it belonged to all of us.
Gibson defended that he didn't film the violence for shock value, but out of reverence.
Sometimes the truth hurts, but if Christ endured that out of love, the least I could do was not hide it.
Regarding the accusations of anti-Semitism, he responded calmly,
Jesus was Jewish. His mother was Jewish. His apostles were Jewish. How could I hate his own people? I didn't film hatred, I filmed redemption.
And about the industry's reaction, he was more forceful.
Hollywood didn't want this film to exist, not because they didn't understand the message, but because they understood it all too well.
Years later, when asked if it was worth it, Mel Gibson answered without hesitation.
Yes, I'd do it again, exactly the same way, because I saw what it stirred in people. I saw hearts change.
I think it's really telling when we're talking about the Epstein files that we remember that there's multiple interviews of Jeffrey Epstein talking about Jesus, except for he can't really say the name. Have you noticed that? He can't really say the name. He only ever refers to him as, like, a carpenter. Or the carpenter. Or, like, that. Which, by the way, is explicitly demonic. Because demons can't really say the name. They have to call him the carpenter. And they do that, one, to try and mock him. To make it seem like, oh, he was just a carpenter. Type thing. I mean, Jeffrey Epstein literally did that in an interview where he was talking about philosophers, and the interviewer mentioned Jesus, and he went, I thought he was a carpenter. Not interested in talking about that. Yeah, probably because you worship Baal, dude. I can't believe that. I'm still trying to struggle to comprehend that we have, like, documented proof of child sacrifice of the elites. That's insane. I can't believe I made fun of conspiracy theorists.
And people around who could write wrote. Socrates could think. So that was...
Jesus of Nazareth was the same way, right? Never wrote anything.
I thought he was a carpenter.
He was a carpenter.
Didn't he need like a little carpenter's tonight? I don't want to get that.
But at least his written record. Right. One last thing.
Sure. Thank you for having me.
I think we're looking at a world where, and this is in the next film I'm going to do, I'm going to try and tackle this question. That there are big realms, spiritual realms. There's good, there's evil, and they are slugging it out for the souls of mankind. And my question is, why are we even important? Little old flawed humanity, why are we important in that process where the big realms are slugging it out over us? And I think there's bigger things at play here. And institutions that purport to touch on the divine are necessarily going to be affected by that slugfest that's going on between good and evil.
Right.
And
sometimes good gives up ground.
Yeah. And maybe not on purpose. You know, maybe there's some deception involved or self-deception.
Right. Co-opted.
Like every morning when I wake up, I actually pray that I don't deceive myself. You know, because it's like, you know, your mind is a very funny place. I mean, there's I've always said, you know, it's your second thought and your first action that you're responsible for. Your first thought, throw it away, you know.
Right. But upon consideration, the second thought is what you're responsible for.
Yeah.
That's the difference between first degree and second degree murder.
There you go.
Right? Right?
The new Epstein file release just proves one thing that nobody's talking about, and it's the fact that the Antichrist is here. He's not coming. And for quite a while, for a long time, people have been focusing on the Antichrist being some hunchback, one bulging eye like a grape creature running around, and it let their guard down. Nobody was paying attention to the fact that the Antichrist or the Dajjal method or the Dajjal system is not this in the flesh, but the Antichrist or the Dajjal, the thing that goes against God, goes against our Creator, and goes against the prophet of the Creator, does not have to be in the flesh. This is an energy. This is something that came here to destroy us. And yes, me, like many others, we do talk about worldly things. We talk about the results or the outcomes of these negative things in the flesh, but do not think for 1 second that it stops at the flesh. This is a spiritual war. This is a war on your soul. These are demons coming to take your life. They are trying to pull your soul into such a misery that you feel the same pain that they suffer on a daily basis. Their whole philosophy is, I'm already going to hell, so let's make sure everybody fries. No politician is your friend, not a Democrat, and sure as hell not a Republican either. This is not a left, this is not a right, this is all of them. And when you sit here and tie your identity to things outside of God, outside of being religious and a connection with our Creator, you will always fail because you are leaning into your ego. Your ego is your pride, and pride is the devil.
The story that came up about Mel Gibson, I kind of want to talk about this. The story was about, I even retweeted it, is a story about the child trafficking documentary that he's doing, a 4-part documentary. It was written by Newsweek saying that he's doing this. So is this the Newsweek one? Yeah. Is Mel Gibson making, okay. Reports have emerged claiming that Mel Gibson is working on a 4-part docuseries uncovering the global child sex trafficking market involving countries like Ukraine. Social media influencers Matt Wallace tweeted, "It's time to expose the truth." While the founder of the Operation Undergrounded Railroad, Tim Ballard, hinted at Gibson's involvement in the docuseries, Gibson's representative denied the rumors, stating they are inaccurate. However, high-profile political influencers have expressed support with the former Arizona governor nominee Kerry Lake stating Mel Gibson's heart and soul are in the right place. Gibson's controversial past, including racist, anti-Semitic, and sexist comments, has fueled speculation. However, fact checkers have revealed that certain quotes attributed to Gibson are false and misleading. So we don't know what's going to happen, whether he's going to produce it or not. If he does, he would be the right guy to do it. And this Tim Ballard guy has been involved in this for he had some trouble, I think, also a couple of years ago. But it would be I'm reading this book by Tommy Mottola yesterday about the story of Tommy. I couldn't put the book down. And, you know, there's a part where he was trying to make a movie. And this movie was supposed to be him and Robert De Niro and some big name guys that were going to do this, okay? And last minute, they're sitting there saying it's a story about going up against pedophilia and what was really taking place. And last minute, it never got funded for the movie to be made. So movies like this, documentaries like this, shows like this, there's a lot of people that don't want to do it because where are you going to platform it? Where are you going to put it up? But if there's a guy that could do it and pull it off, it's definitely Mel Gibson.
I'd put it on Twitter. I'd put it on Twitter.
Yeah,
that's what I would
see what's
put it.
going to happen.
Yep.
And I think Musk would be okay with that.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch...
One of the most disturbing problems in our world today is human trafficking, and particularly the trafficking of children. Our future is our children. Now, the first step in eradicating this crime is awareness. Go see Sound of Freedom.
A CBS News investigation has uncovered a loophole that allows accused and convicted American pedophiles to escape justice by moving to Israel. So Ian Lee has been following this for more than a year, and he traveled to Israel for this investigation. He worked with a group that tracks people accused of sex crimes, which estimates dozens of Americans have used this loophole.
Wow, did I actually think they released this movie? No, but do I hope they do it the right way? Fuck yes, because it is so important. Now, this movie is being released by Mel Gibson and a guy named Jim Caviezel, okay? It's based on a true story. It's based on Tim Ballard, U.S. government agent who quit his job to rescue dozens of children from global traffickers, right? Now, a lot of people don't believe in this aspect of reality, and that's why this movie needs to be seen. If I had a platform to put it out and put my life on the line, I would, because I love humanity, especially children and their innocence, and I despise how much people prey upon them. Specifically because I have two, and I just can't comprehend how somebody can look at a child and just really think something that dark and that deep, you know what I mean? And it really just fucking urges my nerves. And I'm gonna push that message out as much as I can because everybody thought it was a joke with hashtag free the children with the Wayfair project and all that shit that was going on. Everybody just thought it was a fluke, thought it was a technical glitch. It's always a fucking technical glitch. Anyways, Jen Caviezel released some information, some private, deep information I think you need to personally hear. So let's get into that.
For a barrel of body parts and what's going to be adrenochrome, all the plumes that are in the woman's mother's wombs, that goes into a plastic barrel. That's $77,000. Now that gets sent into these biolabs.
Barrel oil,
$77. $77,000 for a barrel of body parts of children, blood. All of that goes to these biolabs. And then now go to Victoria Nuland's testimony.
The biolabs, you're talking about the biolabs in Ukraine.
Correct.
What? How?
And and wherever else those places are. So yes.
Walk through the supply chain of the supply into the biolabs. What do they take?
As far as I can't give you the molecular structure.
No,
I can give you
what's the input of the body parts?
Everything, all the waste, all the body waste, all of that. That's what they told me.
Which has the stimulant in it.
Yes, that's one way of getting it. It's probably not the ultimate way, but it's probably a Diet Coke.
Who's organizing that?
I would have to say definitely that it has to be in the three-letter agencies.
So your contention and what you want, you're in.
I'm saying this. You say there's smoke, there's fire. Okay, so if I say to a media person, 2 + what = 5? And I say 3, and the media will immediately say, how do you know? Did you see a 3? That's what it's like. If you go to Vegas and you win 1,000 hands in a row in blackjack, do you think there's cheating going on?
At the level of $152 billion a year.
Yes.
Right, this has to be making money for a lot of people, and that cash has to be flowing through. Your contention is it is impossible to have demand at that side and have supply.
That's correct.
And not have
Yes.
some sort of organization.
Yes.
This can't be a random.
No.
Of
But
gangs in Mexico.
but the whole thing, just the thing with Miss Rodas, she comes out and makes this testimony, this claim.
Just
that
get our audience up to speed. Though.
85. Well, she said that 85,000 children have disappeared, and she's a whistleblower.
85,000 of the kids who are coming across.
That's correct. This last year,
and you would think that they would be pretty good.
The next day,
they can track anybody anywhere. Right?
Steve, the next day, the media didn't even pick it up. It's not even worthless. It's worthless to them. That's worthless information. And there's no, hey, my bad, Hunter Biden laptop. Oh, and by the way, there was a lot of suggestions that there was probably something more on that laptop than we want to go into. I mean, when you say laptop from hell,
on the perversion.
Well, I got it from. I got it from the best of the best, and they said there'll be adrenochrome there. Oh, by the way, on the street for all of those of you that don't know this, but it's called ambrosia.
Ambrosia is a street term.
That's a street term, yeah. Well, the elite term.
And your belief is in the hard drive from hell. When you get to the bottom of that, you'll also find, when you see all the perversion and degradation of Hunter Biden with these women, that you'll also find that. I'm trying to get you as much trouble as possible.
No,
if the 3 letter agencies are going to come after you, we're going to make it worth their while, right?
Well, I think that they know that. I think they know why those laptops disappeared in the cross testimony. Was that Crowley that did that testimony? When was it? Chris? Was it with Christopher?
Christopher Wray?
Was he the one that was being cross-examined? And they asked him maybe it wasn't him, but it was someone high up in the FBI, and they said, "Where are the laptops?" Oh, they've disappeared. I'd like to look at those laptops. I think you got to start looking at them.
Well, we can certainly get your hard drive.
Yeah.
Let's go back on the 3-letter agencies.
Yeah.
Your contention is that they must know that these government agencies or other operators in these other governments are doing on the supply side of getting the kids in here.
You have to understand. Yeah.
Also, hang on. Your also contention is that it is impossible. Rojas tells you 85,000 children are missing under our disappeared.
Yeah.
That we can't find. And since the government's
media.
so good about giving the EBIT cards and the phones and tracking everybody else, how could they possibly lose 85,000 children?
Yeah.
Your other contention is that the organization of this, both in the organ harvesting and in just the use of these children for sex objects, is so big that it has to have some sort of organized effort.
That's correct.
And that effort, I take it, in your belief, is more than organized crime, or more than the people that are monetizing this. It has to have some element of the government. Is that your contention?
Yes, it's my contention. But my biggest thing here is why they were so against this film coming out. And when I saw this in front of the audience and they're not stupid. I mean, a lot of the public, they're very smart and they're very, and they understand more than me in a lot of ways. They connected the dot very quick. But when you sit down in the room and you actually go through this footage that I have absolutely seen with my own eyes, and I couldn't sleep for 2 years.
What footage was this?
It's pretty bad stuff. Just regular.
But what it was given?
No. I don't want. It's bad stuff. It's stuff that goes into and all of the trafficking and all of the stuff. Then I remember at one point he looked up to me and he said, "Are you sure you want to go any further?" And I said, "I didn't know." And I said, "Yeah." And I couldn't believe what I went into, and then so then I went and met at some point with Tim Ballard, and he started telling me about organ harvesting, and I just said, we got to do something. So in the film, the immediate first thing I did was there's a scene in there between me and the pedophile Ernst Lipachinski, and what happens is that in the scene. This actual line is not in the film, but Alejandro Monteverde said, you were talking about that line earlier. I said, yeah, go ahead and use it. So I go in, I tell the actor, I said, we're shooting French overs. So we're shooting simultaneously. So you get his reaction. And I said, look, we got the scene. It's amazing. Just play along with me on this. Hang on 1 second. So I said, we get to the end of the scene. I said, better a millstone be hung around your neck that you be cast into the sea, that you should ever hurt one of these little ones. And his immediate reaction was, I don't know what you're talking about. And I laughed so hard. But anyway, the reaction from the audience, in this audience it was about 60% of the audience in this place not on the adrenochrome, but this one, explode.
For slave labor, or is it
adrenochrome? The whole adrenochrome empire. This is a big deal. It is listed under the NIH. It is a chemical compound. It's a molecular structure. Is C9H9NO3. It is it's an elite drug that they've used for many years. It's 10 times more potent than heroin, and it has some mystical qualities as far as making you look younger. There's
that scene in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas that nobody could figure out.
No, I saw that. And why does MS-13 have the most advanced guns? You know, why do we Sinaloa gangs have all? How come 110,000 people died or disappeared in Mexico City? Where did they go? And they're starting pulling people out of body bags now. You know, how this is just insane. With our military, our special forces, and we don't take care of this.
You can't just have that demand unless somehow that's organized also.
100%. I believe. Okay, so the agents that I've spoken to. All right, here's the deal. It's for a barrel of oil, $77. For a barrel of body parts and what's going to be adrenochrome, all the plumes that are in the woman's mother's wombs, that goes from a plastic barrel. That's $77,000. Now that gets sent into these biolabs.
Barrel oil,
$77. $77,000 for Ukrainians have Russian bloodline and everything. And then I started looking up that. Then I started looking up this Azov battalion stuff, the Nazis. And then we just find out
there were financing.
But we were told for 2 years that this is not. There's no Nazis there, but now there are. Right. Again, this is another conspiracy theory.
Wow. Let's just give me a second. Let me process that.
I mean, we got a pope that brought a South American idol into the church to worship.
Really?
He did. The Pachamama. He bought the South American, and he got.
I don't know what that is.
It's kind of like a South American god, Pachamama.
Why would he do that?
Good question. But he did.
Did he have an explanation for why he did it?
Yeah, it's kind of a weasel-worded thing of like, oh, all religions are just as good as one another. But you know, if that's his contention,
he shouldn't be the pope.
No, then the hierarchy even worshipped. They had a ceremony around it outside.
What?
So, well, that constitutes apostasy.
Yeah.
That's an apostasy move, all right?
Worshipping false gods.
Yeah. That's number one on the Mosaic hit list. You know, Moses goes up on the mountain, he comes back down, people are worshiping a golden calf.
Yeah.
You know, it's that.
Yeah.
With the recent death of Pope Francis, many are reflecting on his legacy, not just his reforms, but also the controversies that stirred deep debate in the Catholic world. One of the most talked about moments was when he allowed the Pachamama, a South American fertility symbol, to be present at a Vatican ceremony. To many indigenous communities, Pachamama represents Mother Earth, but for some Catholics it crossed a line. They saw it as a form of idolatry. Critics asked, how can the leader of the Catholic Church bring a figure associated with other spiritual systems into the heart of the Vatican? Isn't that a contradiction? There were even whispers of apostasy, a falling away from the faith. The comparison was made to Moses coming down the mountain to find his people worshiping the golden calf. The message? You can't blend every belief system and still represent one faith. But maybe there's a deeper layer. Was Pope Francis trying to build spiritual bridges?
Sono come diverse lingue, diverse idiomi per arrivare lì.
Sort of a comparison, an example would be they're sort of like different languages in order to arrive at God.
Ma Dio è Dio per tutti.
But God is God for all.
E come Dio è Dio per tutti, noi siamo tutti figli di Dio.
And if God is God for all, then we're all sons and daughters of God.
Ma il mio Dio è più importante del tuo.
But my God is more important than your God.
È vero quello?
Is that true?
Or was it a signal of something shifting inside the church itself? Something bigger than we understand. As we move forward, the question remains, what is the Vatican becoming? And who, or what, truly holds the power in our world's spiritual realms? This isn't about judging, It's about paying attention. Because where there's smoke, there's often more than fire. There's transformation.
Because when Trump gets into office, there's going to be other changes made, and those changes are going to bring to light the child trafficking issues. And so they want to get rid of them because they don't want your favorite little celebrity. The only thing that I think is great is that Hollywood will, it's sleight of hand exactly, that Hollywood will not exist. Like people will not, I think that that is great. Not that their houses burnt down, not that they're harmed or lost their families or their pets. Not that. I literally think that we should not focus on those people. It is horrific. The people of Los Angeles County, all the fires surrounding, if you went down PCH, that's Malibu. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's no longer beautiful. It's like these restaurants. Where do all those people go to work? Every single waiter, waitress, whatever, in all those clubs, and there are people, you know, that's where we were down in that part of the city where we had our birthday party in August. All of us. Yeah, I'm so sad. But I know it's a distraction from what they're doing. They don't want us to know. Yeah, it's terrible. I mean, and where are the firefighters? You know, I mean, where are they? They're not helping the poor people. They're not helping the rich people. There were firefighters, but when you have 75 different fires, where are you going? You have to climb over the hill. They can't get through the traffic. They have to be in Pacific Palisades. They have to be in Malibu. They have to be in Altadena. Now they're in Simi Valley. How did they get all over the place there? Where are all the firemen? They cut back on the money. The lady that controls the fire department, her last name's Crowley. Isn't that interesting?
Okay, in this interview with Mel Gibson and Fox News, he is telling us, without telling us, that this whole thing was like the biggest setup. Like, it is crazy. Go take a look at that interview and then come back here and tell me what your thoughts are on it. I really now just am positive that this whole LA fire was a big setup. I feel like there's a lot more to it than what they're trying to put out there on the news. I don't know. It's just definitely gotten to the point where it's just like they totally look like they're burning like evidence for movie stars, stuff like that, and there's some really shady stuff going on in Hollywood. And also, if you remember that I shared that one video about Smart LA, if you didn't see it, go take a look at it in my profile.
Someone should answer for it, but we'll see. I think we know who the culprits are. In fact, my son he's a member of the volunteer fire brigade. He sort of interfaces between LA County Fire and people, and they assist them where they can during, before, and after the blaze. And apparently the residents in Corral Canyon caught an arsonist up there. And the guy was all tooled up with fire gear and equipment and stuff like that and ready to go, and he had been lighting fires. But they corralled the guy in Corral Canyon and gave him to the police. So
yeah, apparently
there are people actively going around looking for these conditions. Yeah.
Yeah, apparently, Mel, that individual was never charged. It's a very confusing set of facts because apparently he was reportedly trying to light things on fire, but it's not the fires, I guess, that they. I mean, it all seems very bizarre. But they have not ruled out that arson could have started the first fire. There's.
It looks like another Israel-funded atrocity is happening. Here's Israel tourists causing huge fires in Argentina in a forest full of natural resources. An Israeli tourist was caught lighting fires in Los Glaciares National Park in the Argentina Patagonia a couple of days ago, and that's the fire that they caused. Now we know Argentina exposes Israeli takeover plan. The government is in on it. Manuel Adomi, the Argentina presidential spokesman, just blew the lid on the secret Israeli operation. Israelis are starting massive fires in Argentina to exploit a loophole recently placed by the Zionist government into Argentinian law. Protected rural and conserved lands can now be sold to foreign private entities once a fire passes through. It used to be illegal in Argentina. Javier Milei, he's a puppet of Israel. There's pictures of him kissing the wall. Here he is. That guy is now president of Argentina. He repeals the law that says foreigners can't buy up land that has been victim of a fire. He repealed it. Why would he do that? Well, because it looks like he's working for them.
Evening, everyone. Happy Sunday. Hope everyone's having a good weekend. So, does everybody remember the 1997 film starring Mel Gibson as a taxi driver? It's called Conspiracy Theory, and it goes back to a lot of what we've been saying in regards to how they've been putting things in our faces for many years in films. There's a little bit at the beginning of this clip where he does state in 1979 that military personnel rounded up all the winners of the Nobel Peace Prize and forced them to give semen samples, believe it or not. And you'll hear the rest of that at the beginning of the clip. So take a look at it. That's me done for the weekend. I'll see you all soon.
At gunpoint to give semen samples in little plastic jars, which are now stored below Rockefeller Center underneath the ice skating rink. Wouldn't want to be there for the thaw. Ugh. I mean, it's disgusting. You know what they put in the water, don't you? Fluoride. Yeah, fluoride. On the pretext that it strengthens your teeth. That's ridiculous. You know what this stuff does to you? It actually weakens your will. Takes away the capacity for free and creative thought and makes you a slave to the state. So you ever wonder about all these militia groups, survivalist type kooks from the right-wing side? They say that they're defending the country from the UN troops. These guys are yelling so loud, my theory is, and this is a conspiracy, pal, that they are the UN troops and that they're in place. The infrastructure's ready, it's just a fait accompli. When the time comes, they'll just take over and we'll all be toast. Oswald, that's what I said, Oswald. He said, I'm just a patsy, and that means that he didn't do it, right? Tell you the one about Arm & Hammer goes to the doctor, and the doctor said, hey, Armin, you've only got 3 minutes to live. And he says, oh my God, that's terrible news. Isn't there anything you can do for me, Doc? 3 minutes. And the doctor says, well, Armin, I can boil you an egg. I guess not. All right. Did you ever see those advertisements like, got milk? Hey, open up. Open it up. What's going on in there? Open it up. Son of a bitch. Eat beef? I mean, that's kind of like saying smoke cigarettes or drive cars. I mean, it's real generic. It's like this guy looks at me and he says to me, you think you're living in a free country? Do you think this is a democracy? Of course it's not. Websites, newsletters, self-published manifestos, they think we're kooks. I mean, George Bush knew what he was saying when he said New World Order. Remember those three little words, New World Order? Well, he was a 33rd degree Mason, you know, and as ex-director of the CIA. He knew that saying that would send conspiratologists everywhere spinning their wheels, and they destroy their own credibility. Hey, don't get me wrong, sister. I'm sure your heart's in the right place, okay? But, you know, somebody's got to lift the scab, the festering scab that is the Vatican. The chip for identification so they can track down an animal anywhere he's at, you'll insert it under the dog's skin, and it's kind of like an identification thing. I mean, it's only a small, logical step, so they start putting it in us and our children. And then, before we know it, my God, they'll probably come with the pretext. Oh, sure, yeah. Hey, is that one of those new hundreds? You know, where they changed the picture of Ben Franklin? Look at him. Yeah. He looks like the love child of Fred Mertz and Rosie O'Donnell. Yeah, that's him. Yeah, get rid of him as soon as you can, lady. Look at it up to the light. You see the metal strip in it? That's a tracking device. If you got any more of those at home, get rid of them. Exchange them for goods or something. Because they'll follow you. They know where every one of those hundreds is going.
Why did early Jewish filmmakers in Hollywood avoid talking about Israel, and how did that dynamic change? For much of Hollywood's early history, Jewish filmmakers and studio executives actually distanced themselves from Zionism and discussions about Israel. Prominent Jewish figures in the industry like Louis B. Mayer of MGM or Harry Cohn of Columbia Pictures expressed skepticism or outright opposition to Zionism. Supporting Zionism was seen as politically risky at the time, and as a result, Hollywood avoided portraying Israel or Jewish nationalism on screen. That dynamic began to shift with the release of what's now considered a Hollywood classic film, Exodus, in 1960. Exodus, starring Paul Newman, was created and produced in collaboration with the Israeli government. The film was highly successful. In the years that followed, Hollywood entered what has been called the romantic phase with Israel. Films like Cast a Giant Shadow, released in 1966 and starring Kirk Douglas, helped to popularize and normalize Israel's story in mainstream culture. However, after the controversial 1982 Lebanon War, public perception shifted, and Hollywood portrayals of Israel became more negative, often portraying portraying Israelis as spies or aggressors. 1997 saw the launch of the Masterclass program, a collaboration between the LA Federation's entertainment division and the Jewish Agency for Israel. The initiative brought prominent Hollywood figures to Israel to mentor aspiring Israeli creatives. Over 15 years, this program helped produce a new wave of Israeli filmmakers who found success in Hollywood. Meanwhile, Israeli media companies like Keshet International began to establish a strong presence in Hollywood. In this period, several films or TV shows emerged that portrayed Israel in a positive light, like Munich, which follows the Israeli government's response to the 1972 Munich Olympics attack, The Debt, which tells the story of Mossad agents hunting a Nazi war criminal, Fauda, which focuses on Palestine and Israel from the perspective of an undercover Israeli unit, Operation Finale, which again follows Mossad agents as they capture Nazi war criminal Adolf Eichmann, and The Red Sea Diving Resort, which portrays a Mossad operation to rescue Ethiopian Jews and bring them to Israel. While we're now used to seeing these stories, they actually reflect a deep intentional partnership between Hollywood and Israel.
Surely, Your Majesty, you're not telling me that the Jewish lobby in the United States pulls the strings of the presidency?
Not entirely, but I think even a little too much, even for Israel interests.
You think the Jewish lobby in the United States is too powerful for the interests of Israel?
I think so. Sometimes they are disserving the interests of Israel because they're pushing around too many people.
Why would the President of the United States pay attention to that lobby?
They are strong.
Strong in what sense?
They are controlling many things.
Controlling what?
Newspapers, medias,
Your Majesty.
banks, finances,